welcome to Christy Peterson, the previous past district director for District 50 for Toastmasters. I met Christy in a while now, maybe 6 years ago or so, but I was always impressed by how actively engaged she was with Toastmasters and leadership path, and just always volunteering her expertise and time to help us Toastmasters progress through the learning pathways. So I wanted to invite her to talk to our CMMC group, just because I know that just communication skills is so big for any profession, but definitely as assessors or implementers where we're working face to face with clients, we need to have that confidence, leadership skills. And yeah, Christy's going to talk to us about that today. So welcome, Christy.
Thank you so much, Derek. And please let me know if I am not showing the right slide at some point. I hopefully am. I want to talk a bit about growing your career. It's a great time of year for that, right? January, with everybody thinking about the new 2025. This weekend, I just came from celebrating a 60th anniversary for one of my Toastmaster clubs, Richardson Noon Toastmasters. A lot of fun to reminisce, see some connections, and I'll share a few things with them here. I think there are three things to talk about with growing your career. And one is just get out of your comfort zone. Don't do the same thing you did last year. Add something to it. Add something that gets you out of your comfort zone. Leverage your strengths for sure. So you want to take, like in my case, I was always more technical. I went to college as a math major, University of South Dakota, growing up on a small farm life environment. It was a challenge, definitely getting out of my comfort zone to become more involved, and didn't see myself as a speaker, but getting involved in something like Toastmasters, which brings me to that third point of nurturing your connections, which builds confidence and relationships. The business mogul Richard Branson said that succeeding in business is all about making connections. And I want to share with you how that has worked for me with Toastmasters. Toastmasters International is indeed a worldwide organization. We're going to talk about it in four different ways here. Talk about just what is Toastmasters, the club experience. Is that just the backbone of getting that experience to help yourself grow, to give speeches, to hear feedback from others, and how I have seen myself grow in the potential and many others, as well as what you could do as well. And then lastly, what is kind of that hidden behind the scenes gem is the mentoring, having others help you grow and grow your connections. We'll end with questions. If there's something that raises a question right when we're speaking, feel free to bring that up as well. Okay, what is Toastmasters? It is an international organization, a nonprofit educational organization that helps millions of people, has helped millions over the last 100 years build the confidence to be better communicators, public speakers, and leaders. It works through a network of clubs. That's what we call that basic group that meets together. And that we have over 270,000 clubs across the world. And they're gathered, or 270,000 members, gathered into 14,000 clubs across 150 countries. So it's truly a worldwide organization. And it's definitely one of the most effective ways of building your communication skills. It's considered one of the most premier providers of dynamic, high-value, experiential communication and leadership skill building. You do it yourself. I want to take you through talk about the club experience. How many have been in a club before? I know Derek and I have. Cody, how about you? Have you been in a club before?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Okay. Well, if it's a long time ago, then let me bring you up to date on a few things that are happening. Toastmasters works because we get to experience and support each other. This is actually a photo from one of my clubs named The Storytellers. And as you can guess, storytelling is an important part of having that story build. This is a club that met in person for many, many years. Along came the pandemic. went online, and now we meet in a hybrid environment, meaning that we're both in person and online. You don't see the screen on this photo, but it's there behind my shoulder, and I'm on the left of the picture. The Toastmasters experience, club experience, is something where it gives us that hands-on learning experience. You could be the leader of the meeting, keep things on time. You could be the speaker and present a polished speech, and there's material in the Toastmasters curriculum to help you with that, give you guidance. It's a building block approach. You may start off by introducing yourself as an icebreaker, produce a speech with a purpose, move on to doing things like preparing for an interview or leading a team and telling the group about that experience. That one of the most important parts is the feedback. We get immediate feedback. You may think of a meeting where you say, yeah, that was okay. I got something out of it. But give that speaker immediate feedback. What worked? Was it the content and it flowed smoothly so the dots got connected? Was it how they presented so that you heard it with a vocal variety that kept you engaged? Was it something distracting? They gestured wildly and you're going, whoa, slow down already. I'm stuck on, where are you on the screen? Give them feedback to help them out. This is a summer meeting in the picture, but we just came from a tall tales contest on Saturday. So those are short stories, 3 to 5 minutes, and each person had a contest-worthy speech they'd come up with, so that they're having something that's a little more fantastical than the truth because it's a tall tale, but a good challenge for us and feedback to help us grow in the skills. One of the best parts about Toastmasters too is the camaraderie, that we are helping each other. That's why this is experiential, because one time I may be the speaker, and then another time I'm the evaluator giving feedback to the speaker. We do some helper things like growing our communication knowledge, kind of the listening skills. How many ahs and ums? Or did I start every sentence with and everything was connected or so? So we have feedback for ahs and ums, ah counters, grammarian, that helps us grow and build our confidence. Being reminded of those ahs and ums can help us drop them. We sometimes say Toastmasters is a safe place to fail. You can give a speech here, and maybe it just didn't quite hit the note you thought it should. So you think about it, and you got feedback from your evaluator. You can make it better. It's a way to practice before you get into the real deal in the business place or community event where you want to be able to speak your mind and make it work. Impromptu speaking, that we call table topics, just 1 to 2 minutes, is like that infamous elevator speech. You got on the elevator and so did the CEO. You want to say something intelligent, make sure that you sound like you know what's going on. He may ask you a question. There may be an opportunity for you to ask him a question or her. And rather than getting off the elevator saying, oh, I shouldn't have said that. That was just didn't sound, I sounded so confused. Impromptu speaking at a Toastmasters meeting helps us grow, build our confidence, be more able to answer those ahs and ums in the future. Okay, I want to move into how Toastmasters help me grow. I have been a Toastmaster for 30 years as of this month. And it's the kind of thing that originally I didn't think I would do. I wasn't seeing myself as a communicator. My college degree is double major math and computer science. I didn't even take the speech class till the senior year because I didn't think I needed it. I was technical. Why would I need to be writing speeches? But of course, it's required to graduate. So going from that shy person, I essentially found Toastmasters mid-career when I had switched groups, and you could hardly say no. I'm not going to come to Toastmasters when you're part of a project management team. But I found that I got hooked. You give some speeches, maybe the fourth speech, and you realize people are listening. This is working. This is making me feel better about what I'm saying. So I went ahead and went up that ladder of educational degrees. We have a lot of ABCs in Toastmasters, and they start off with different letters and levels based on what you've done. But once you've done many speeches, been leader in your club within the district, you can become a distinguished Toastmaster. And I have done that twice even. So it's an opportunity to grow in the leadership side. And in fact, when my company, where I was a computer programmer and then project manager with Transamerica, when they decided that the project managers were basically, revising the way they did things, I took the early retirement plan rather than be on the next layoff list. But that led me into a wealth of opportunities, expanding my leadership, both from what I had done at work and leading large projects to what I have done in Toastmasters. I became an area director, which was that basic level, the introductory leadership level beyond the club, where you are helping others. And that's something I know that Darich has done as well. But it's eye-opening to have those opportunities to learn from other people. It may be helping with contests. It may be just helping them find ways to keep members going, to meet their goals. The leadership opportunities for me then allowed me to leverage some strengths I had in project management and continue to build my communication, leadership skills. I learned from mentors so much. We're going to talk about some of those on the next slide, that you don't have to do it alone. Others are there. Things that I would never have seen myself do. Like I went to a demo meeting, which is a demonstration for a group that's interested in Toastmasters at their location. Could be a business, could be a community. In this case, it was a business. And it related to the support I was doing as an area director. Well, by the end of the meeting, others were saying, we need some help with the demo meetings. What do you think? I said, okay, I could help with that. And before I knew it, by the end of the next few months, I became the demo chair for the district. Great role, my favorite role of all, because you're helping bring together Toastmasters with experience, people who are interested in the program, because it helps them grow their potential, and having that 1 hour demo meeting to make it happen. So much so that I went ahead and built the confidence through multiple roles to actually run for the elected offices within Toastmasters district. Our District 50 covers the Dallas and Northeast Texas area, such as it's north to the Oklahoma border, south to about Waxahachie, east all the way to and including Shreveport, Louisiana. And that we have about 150 clubs or so. And that opportunity to be involved as a district leader to help form and guide people is much rewarded, in the sense that there are contests to compete and see people grow their skills. There are conferences where we bring together speakers from all over, and that we then have education sessions, recognition. The camaraderie of getting people together again is definitely a growth. Toastmasters has helped me grow my potential. And I want to show you some other things that could help you grow it as well. Let's see here. Here are some of the folks I consider as mentors. Some of them, it's more informal than a true mentor-mentee relationship, but the growth is amazing. Plus, their stories are incredible. The guy on the left, Brian Doan, would tell you, because he told people on Saturday at the Storytellers, he started Toastmasters to be a better communicator. That English second language, he wanted to be better improved. But he has done so many things, built the relationships that last, built the opportunity to take on and be a division director and help others grow their skills, as well as helping us get the Storytellers going in a hybrid location, such that we have encouraged people to join us and see them growing their skills. We have a mix of experienced people who've been around the 20, 30 years like I have, and others who have just found us in the last year or two and looking for ways to grow their careers. Yvonne in the next picture is somebody I ran into on my leadership journey, and she and I have supported each other along the way. Yvonne has taken on many leadership roles in the Toastmasters and continues to do that, supporting multiple groups and clubs. Sometimes we have those moments where it's like, oh my goodness, how are we going to do this? This is our first hybrid business meeting, and we've got a lot of activity, but we made it happen. We got it together. It's an opportunity. In the middle bottom picture are what we lovingly call the trio. That's when I was a club growth director along with Monica Durden and Walter Price. Walter is a professor at Southwestern College, and Monica was an area director like me. She's also one that came to Toastmasters because of the contest. Somebody each year wins the world champion of public speaking, meaning they competed at that club level, went on to the area, division, district, up to the world stage each year. And that is an amazing speech contest to watch. Everybody's 5 to 7 minute speech is superb. And that we actually have a winner in our district, Jim Key. And that's kind of where Monica also competed. She didn't win that illustrious title, but she has been a district director and provided guidance as well as being a leader in her own right. She is very much a dynamic personality and great person to know, grow our own and help us grow our own skills. The upper picture has our current leader, Kim Ross, in the middle, and Ann Barab on the right. She is our district's only accredited speaker, which means that when she found Toastmasters, again, almost 30 years ago, and thought she was pretty good as a speaker, she'll tell you that she was rated 42 O's in that first speech. Whoa, I thought I was better than that. But she improved, she got hooked, and did become a professional speaker. That's how she became the accredited speaker. So the opportunities, the doors open with Toastmasters in so many different ways for different folks. And the bottom picture there on the right is where I got a lot of growth from Gareth Shaker, who's now a dean at the University of Texas at Dallas, and that just by happenstance, he was the division director when I stepped into that leadership role. I didn't know him till we met at a park in that very first transitional meeting. And the opportunities for him to show me the ropes in leadership, and then me to be supportive, as in the demo chair, the quality education chair, make that mentor relationship really flourish, that both are contributing to making things happen within the district. To me, that's where Toastmasters becomes amazing, what the doors open and how there are so many different ways that we can serve. And the ability to build the confidence. When I started as an area director, it was more of a challenge to say, what are you doing to become a distinguished Toastmaster? Well, I'd done everything else you needed and was just kind of on set and hold for several years, actually. And I then moved forward as an area director and helped some new clubs, was able to be that distinguished Toastmaster. Google it. It's an opportunity that you see out there, that Toastmasters is one of those opportunities to build confidence, build relationships. One of the most efficient, cost-effective, supportive, enjoyable relationships. As Dr. Ralph Smedley, the founder of Toastmasters International, said, people learn best in moments of enjoyment. That's what the Toastmaster Club meeting is, that it is an opportunity for us to get together and have fun. And it definitely builds the confidence, the relationships, and helps us get out of our comfort zone, leverage our strengths, and build more, in the sense that it nurtures our connections with Toastmasters around the city and around the world. As a Toastmaster leader, I had the opportunity to go to the Toastmasters International Convention. There are indeed people from the whole world there, and seeing them, meeting them, those connections have helped me grow both as people to get in touch with, see how things work. I want to go ahead and get some questions in here now and ask you, for those who have gone to Toastmasters, what was your biggest aha moment when you joined the meeting? What is your takeaway from that? I'm going to stop this sharing and then we can discuss some more stories as appropriate. Let's see here. Did that stop the sharing? I think it did.
Yes, it did.
Okay. So those of you that have been a Toastmaster, what did you take away from the experience?
And I'll give Cody, that was surprised me. I didn't know you had been to a Toastmasters meeting before. Do you have any feedback before I jump in and share?
I misunderstood the question. I'd been at a similar club, like
okay.
Club. I thought it was, something specific to them.
Got it. By any other attendees, any of you have been to Toastmasters Club, been a member, been involved? Other than myself and Christy, maybe not. We may have some newbies here, Christy.
We do.
I'll share.
Well, and I'm going to put something in the chat here too. Yeah, go ahead and share some of your experiences, Derek.
Okay, yeah. Essentially, the post I had made sharing how prior to joining Toastmasters, I think I joined in 2018. Prior to that, I had always feared public speaking. That may surprise some of you all because I talk a lot now. I was basically talk for a living almost. But prior to that, I was afraid of public speaking and didn't have that confidence. I was very much introverted outside of the people I knew, friends and family. And I knew that I wanted to accelerate my career. I felt like I kind of hit a plateau with the current skill set that I had. And my wife, she had mentioned, hey, had you heard of Toastmasters before? And I had heard of it, but I didn't know much about it. Originally, I thought it was like a drinking club or something. But my wife and I, we went to a local club here. I think it might have been Richardson. But we went to the local club and I was really just blown away by just a safe environment for people to test their communication skills. And it was just an international club. We had people, English was their second language and they were trying to get over that hurdle. And you had people who have been speaking for years and professional level, and it just everyone working together and supporting each other through that journey. Like Christy said, after I did a couple speeches, I was hooked. I did a couple within, I think 3 months of joining Toastmasters. I had made it to the district with a humorous speech contest. And so I went from being afraid of public speaking to being on stage in front of like 500 people doing a humorous speech contest. And it just goes to show you how in the right environment and the levels and the right support, you can truly accelerate your skills. And that's the reason I invited Christy is because I see a lot of parallels with CMMC and Toastmasters, because my vision for the CMMC Professionals Network is to provide that collaborative, safe environment for you to hone your skills as assessors and implementers. And communication is a big part of that. So having that confidence with how you're communicating with your clients, your peers is essential.
It is. Others, I'm going to put something in the chat here too, a link to why Toastmasters. It's on the toastmasters.org website. If you go there, toastmasters.org, just Google Toastmasters, there's a button that says find a club. So put in your address, look for something that's near you, or there are some that are online only. And in fact, my home club has gone online only. They sold the building. So we're kind of in the online world in that we meet twice a month. Others meet weekly. And club like the Storytellers meets once a month, usually the second Saturday. So February 8th at noon Central Time, we meet again. But it's such an eye opener. If you haven't experienced Toastmasters, find one and see what it can do for you. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm just too busy. I couldn't do this. Like myself, I didn't go to the first meeting. So I was kind of like stuck. What am I going to do? Say no to my coworker? I don't think I need this. But I did. I grew so much in ability to speak, taking on larger projects as a project manager. It was so much more feeling like I could do this because I had that Toastmasters experience, getting feedback to see what worked, what stories do people want to hear versus that's too long. You didn't get the punchline right, or we need to hear something to connect the dots. How something that can help us with that. I'm a member of multiple clubs, largely because I learned so much from each one that even though you could say, well, aren't you done with Toastmasters? One of the original were the first woman in Toastmasters. In the beginning, 100 years ago, it was only men. It wasn't the 70s that women were admitted. So the first woman Toastmaster, who actually started off with just an initial because they weren't yet allowing women, but she became the first woman, Helen Blanchard, the first international president. She said that if you get out of Toastmasters, all there is to get out of Toastmasters, you will never get out of Toastmasters. That is so true.
I like that. Yeah.
Other questions?
Don't be shy. You can put your questions in the chat or come off of mute. It's definitely a remarkable organization. And I guess, Christy, if you can elaborate on if someone, once they pick a club that's near them, do they have to be members to go to the meeting, or elaborate?
You can visit. The Toastmasters International has a process now on the website where you can pick a club and let them know you're interested in coming. So their webpage may say second Saturday, but maybe like Storytellers in March, it's going to be the third Saturday because there's a district contest on the second Saturday for my other club. And that is an opportunity for you to reach out to them and say, I'm interested, get some information before you show up, and also just confirm when and where they meet. If it's on Zoom, they can hand you the Zoom link. Sometimes it's available on their webpage as well, or Microsoft Teams, WebEx. There's several different ways, but many have gone back to in person. In fact, our spring contests are all in person again.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I know. It's like, how can you imagine telling a tall tale where people are going to chuckle and enjoy your little humorous tidbits? Right. If they're not there, they're just on the Zoom world. So in person is super.
Yeah, that's the Elvis accent.
But once you visited,
okay. Time commitment, Toastmasters.
Time commitment. I'm glad you asked that because it's really a self-paced organization. If the club meets once a week, it's basically at the hour that they meet. Some will meet a little bit differently. It could be an hour and a half. You'd kind of find out what it is, but most are an hour meeting with 2 speakers, could be 3, could be a special presentation and 1 longer speech. But speeches, the table topics, impromptu speaking, and evaluations can certainly happen in 1 hour. If you're an officer, that's an opportunity to grow some leadership skills, organize, say, a membership campaign to reach out for others to join, or be involved with just the support of the organization itself. And that there's a bit more. So an hour a week is a pretty economical way of growing your skills. They'll sometimes say Toastmasters is the most efficient way to grow your communication and leadership skills. An hour a week with building the confidence, building the relationships can get you so much more in the long run. It's also very economical. It's basically $10 a month. We pay in semi-annual periods, so it's $60 for 6 months. If you've never been a Toastmaster, there's a $20 one-time cost to get you access to the online materials. But where else can you go? If you go to a training course, let's say for thousands of dollars, you don't get the practice. The practice makes a difference. I know we had a gentleman at one of my clubs where he had wonderful PowerPoints. Boy, they were detailed and lots of material. Great line. But his presentation wobbled depending on how frequently he spoke. The more he spoke, the better he did. He actually left for a while because his workplace took him to a different location. And then he came back, and you could see that practice does make a difference. And he improved again as he did more speaking. So it's definitely something to do and experience. So the bottom line answer is an hour per meeting, and it could be an hour a month. It could be 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever your club meets. You don't have to go to every single meeting. It's good to plan ahead. Say, I'll be a speaker on this one. I'd like to be grammarian and listen for word usage on this one. So you are knowing what your role is and when you might be unavailable.
And Brian asked about the cost, and he kind of touched on it a little bit, but it breaks down to about how much annually?
So annually, it's $120 because of the 6-month periods at $60 each. And then the first year, it would be additional 20, so 140. But again, compared to what else you could do for $10 a month, it's a bargain. I mean, and the camaraderie is worth it. The 60th anniversary party we just went to was such a blast that we have known each other, some of us for many, many years, the two long-term members probably for 20 years knowing each other, and some who were members way back. I've been more active in that club for the last 5, but some of them just joined in the last year, 4 months ago. And the opportunity to connect and share stories and build on what one has done to the next is tremendous. That opportunity to grow. I think the contest, just like Darrich pointed out, stretch yourself, step out of your comfort zone, because after a while, you kind of know these folks, you know what they're going to tell you, and if your gestures are working or not, and if your vocal variety, you don't want to just read your speech there, I just did a, go to a contest and step beyond that and see how you fare amongst others. Go to the contest as a guest and just see what others are doing. You may get some ideas that help you with your next presentation. And contests are usually free. At the district conference, that was the big one where you graduated one up all those levels. There will be a cost for the people who come to the conference. The actual competitors, there's no cost for them. Okay, were there other questions? I'm not sure that I'm seeing all the chat.
Got it. I think we answered all of the questions so far. And another thing I want to point out about Toastmasters and how it relates to this group for CMMC, think about if you are, let's say you're an assessor and you want to, a big part of being that lead assessor, you're going to deliver that opening briefing for the organization that's being assessed, to be able to go to your Toastmasters club and practice that opening briefing and get feedback on how you can improve it to resonate better with your target audience. That's one example. For example, if you're doing a sales call or sales meeting, there's no limit on what topics you can pick for your speeches in Toastmasters. So if you're looking to improve your skills in a professional capacity, then yeah, you can pick those type of scenarios where you can practice, get your reps in a safe environment in your Toastmasters club to really improve.
Yeah, hone your stories so you have kind of that repertoire of what works. You may have a scenario where something happened, and what did you do to resolve it? The world champions of public speaking will say, to bring a speech home, you want to make it have a hero. But that doesn't have to be you. That can be the audience. That can be someone else in your story. That's the H. And then you have the E, where you have some kind of obstacle here. I've got to get what my E is really supposed to be. That's not the obstacle here. But you have something that allows you to get over that challenge. And then you have the mentor. Oh, is the opportunity. Okay, I'm getting myself backwards here between hero and home. That the mentor may be you or someone else bringing in a solution to that. And you end with the evolution, that somebody emerges transformed from the situation. So let your stories help you communicate the points that you want to make.
And I did an interview a couple of weeks ago with Brian, speaking with earlier, the SWAT team lead, law enforcement. He gave a lot of good insights on just how to build rapport with your client organization that you're assessing, just the communication skills, the value of it. So it certainly ties into what you're talking about. So I put the link to his video for that interview in the chat. For those who haven't seen it yet, highly recommend you check it out. Certainly some golden nuggets as far as how you can leverage those communication skills for assessments or just working with your clients.
Right. Yep. And some people join Toastmasters just to get a feel for it and get some experience, get some tips. There's a whole wealth of material, curriculum available online. Great examples of giving speeches, as well as some group activities and little checklists. I'm sure in your arena, you have many checklists already, but there may be some that give you some ideas of project planning from a different perspective and organizing, say, an event with multiple people, so that you have that planned up front and have those opportunities. Things always happen that are unexpected. So you have to have some backups and plan Bs as well. But it is an opportunity for you to then share those stories with others. And that whether it be a storytelling, a networking event, or just the active listening that you can do in a Toastmasters meeting.
Yep. Christy, since I have you here, so I want to pick your brain on their extensive leadership with building organizations and helping clubs grow. So for our group, we just really started in October of last year. We've got some insights, tips you can share, some things you learned, best practices for new organizations that are trying to grow and engage their members.
Well, and that's almost like growing a new Toastmasters club in a sense of, or even a new district. That one of the best things that Toastmasters has done is, I mentioned this distinguished Toastmaster, which is a highest level of education you can do. Well, to do that, you not only give speeches, which of course can help me personally grow, but I help others as a leader within the group, as a club leader. So it's good to have people who are committed to the organization, like you are, Derek. You can take on different roles that are perhaps overlapping, but specific to each one, so that there are responsibilities, much like there are with the club officers of a Toastmasters club. I might be VP of membership, helping bring folks from guest to member on one, and VP of education, as I am on another, helping them with that education program. Another is the treasurer, just to kind of keep everything together if there's a money flow situation. The other thing that's marvelous about DTM is helping new clubs, that the clubs are started by two or include two sponsors, somebody who's already a Toastmaster who can help them get going. That a Toastmasters club, when it starts, is 20 members or so, and that can, it can be more, but that can be an opportunity to reach out to people to help them see the opportunity in front of them and get started. Some companies will sponsor that to get the organization started. Some companies have used Toastmasters as their training situation, where trainers used to be there. You go to that semi-annual training class for a day or two. But then that seems to have evolved into opportunities in a different way. And that could be Toastmasters, that in some corporate situations, it's a best practice to say, who are your up and coming leaders? Have them go to Toastmasters to improve their communication and leadership skills. The things that you do when you need to organize together can give you skills that will help you. Many have said, I learned to be confident in speaking such that I could ask for that next job. I could interview confidently. I could even go to the car dealership and say, no, I don't think my car really needs this. You're trying to sell me a bill of goods that I previously would never have challenged had I not gone through Toastmasters. So it's that opportunity to have those sponsors who know the ropes, the club mentors, which I think you have as well, that somebody who's been there to help the next. And then I think that the hidden gem that we don't always hear about is the mentors. There is a mentoring program in Toastmasters that is meant to be more of that one-on-one relationship. It starts off with something more short-term. Think of it like coaching, that somebody who could improve their skills. I'm working with a member who is going to be a competitor at the speech contest. And while his concepts are good, his presentation, vocal variety, the personal stories need to be beefed up to be competitive. And I think he can do that, but he needs somebody to help guide him to see what can be done. We did give round robin feedback at the last meeting, but there's opportunity then to just work together and help each other. Then there's long-term mentoring, where essentially you go to the meeting and maybe you get feedback, and you have to really look at it and say, take it with a grain of salt. I could do this. This will make a difference. Perhaps it's the connections between the points. Perhaps it's my introduction or my conclusion, that they were like, oh, time's up, I'm done. As opposed to having something that I flowed into the conclusion. So it becomes a mentor who can give you more feedback than you got just from the meeting. Some newer evaluators may be a little reluctant to say, oh, wow, you're a DTM. I can't say anything bad about you. Yes, you can. You can tell me how it worked. Did this speech resonate with you? Or did I lose you after a couple minutes? And you're wondering, what's this about again? Too many ABCs, too many technical jargons. What is it you're trying to tell me? What's my takeaway at the end? So I think having that feedback, that mentor to also help us set mutual goals. In most cases, I think mentoring works more like the informal, as I had with Professor Gaurav Shaker, in that he had a goal as being this district leadership had many team members in his team. And I was one of those, but I knew what my focus was. And together we planned and we made it happen. We recruited others for a demo meeting, or we got trainers for quality education. And we advertised and let our members know, especially the officers and the training, when it was to take advantage. Some of it is innovation, and that so it may not be one person's idea, but the others can run with it. I'm proud to say that we were the use of the QR codes. Everybody's going, yeah, of course, that's what we do. But there were years ago where people waited in line to get into training. Big, long line to say, I'm here, so you get credit for your club to know that you were trained. But of course, there's easier ways, some way to know that they're there, the QR codes for that answer at that time, and there's many other ways to do that. So I think Toastmasters DTM program is a good example of having multiple tracks or activities that you do. And just that whole mentorship program, there's a path and pathways for that gives some tips as to feedback. It's an opportunity for others to feel like they're supported. I'm currently mentoring a district leader who I've done that role, and now she is. So it's an opportunity to say, well, what worked when you had this situation? Or what do we need to be planning next? Sometimes it's written out, but many times you still have to figure out what that means for you at this time and not just have it laid out for you. So there's more initiative taking than just following by rote. But that's what makes us leaders, because we had to figure it out. That's what allows us to take that next career step.
Agreed. That's great. And that's several of the things we do have in the works, where we are going to be launching a mentorship program, give that one-on-one coaching, career coaching, and then also education pathways. I agree. Members need to have something they're working towards, a goal, so that, again, a lot of parallels, a lot of my lessons learned from Toastmasters, I'll be deploying out in CPN. So kind of open it up again to the members who are attending now, like what are, based on some things we talked about and things that Christy shared, what are some things you think we can incorporate into CPN to help us grow and engage members and make sure they're maximizing this network feedback?
Well, I think the whole idea of creating that a mutually respected space where people are free to share and open their ideas is a path we've already kind of founded this on. And if we keep going in that direction, creating roundtables for people to share ideas, share thoughts, pose questions, and practice making an argument, practice potentially arguing with somebody who's resistant to advice, because everybody has their own opinions, and creating that space where we can have civil discourse and challenge each other in a positive and constructive way.
Agreed. See, Brian said, I think virtual meetings sound like they're a good idea and reach more people as well. Yeah. And Christy, our goal as we grow as a group is to ultimately have local meetups and potentially chapters where we have a larger group of members. Awesome. Looking forward to that. But right now we're primarily virtual. And I guess, can you also talk more about the skill it takes or that helps you develop in Toastmasters in terms of giving feedback, but most importantly, receiving that constructive feedback? Can be tough for people. Someone's telling you how to improve, but the way Toastmaster does it so well is they frame it and it's constructive feedback. No one Toastmaster is going to tell you that you suck, you can't speak well, or anything like that. It's going to be very constructive and to help you grow. It's not to tear you down. You can talk more about that, Christy.
Exactly, right. And there's great guidance. In fact, you can't really see this, but you can see how there are different sections. Probably doesn't really show the lights reflecting there. But each evaluation form gives you something to look for. It always starts off with what you did well. You did these things well. And we definitely want it to be positive. I remember an area director in the past with this kind of famous red boots evaluation. He was to evaluate a woman who just spoke, and it was bad. She just did almost everything wrong, probably was monotone. I don't remember the details of what exactly she wasn't doing, but he was struggling to figure out what to say as the positive thing. And then it came to him, and he started out with, your red boots really made the moment. Your appearance in the meeting, those red boots stood out. So he had a positive. Ideally, you give them the one thing to work on, the thing they can do the most. But typically, we will give them more than that, a couple things. But do something that you can give an example. So it isn't a matter of saying, I thought your introduction was weak. But say you started off by telling us your name and some specifics, but you could have started by saying, I have an answer to how we grow our careers, and get something that entices their interest, or a question. Question's always a great way to start off, get people's interest. If you haven't caught their attention in the first 30 seconds, you may be losing them. And so the evaluation form guides you in that what you excelled at, what you may want to work on, and to challenge yourself what to do next. There are specific criteria on the next page that you can look for, like vocal variety, that audience awareness, the clarity, eye contact, gestures, etc. But it's an opportunity, like you said, that the evaluations are there. My favorite video in the Pathways material is the one on evaluations, because it starts off with them telling you how the evaluation process is going to work. You see this little mini version of a speech. Somebody gets up, talks about their topic, they thank him, he sits down, then they call up the evaluator. The evaluator gives a very crisp feedback, very minimal, very generic. The narrator comes on and says, well, that wasn't enough. Evaluation was too general. It didn't give him any specifics. Let's try again. So we have another evaluation, and they get more specific, and it's better. So narrator comes on again and says, you can do more to be encouraging. You can give more information to go to that 2 to 3 minutes. And that third evaluation is definitely the one to model. So there, even if you simply look at the material initially, there's some examples that are definitely worthwhile. And I think that's the way to look at giving feedback, is it's got to have something constructive. You don't want to tear somebody down and say, I just didn't like what you said. That didn't work. But also in receiving feedback, it's the same thing, is look at the selection of ideas. Some will say, use the stage more. You've got to move. You've got to change over here. Point number 1 over here and point number 2 over here. And some will say, stop moving. You're losing me. I can't keep up with you on the screen, especially if it's online, that sometimes my back and forth seems like I'm just kind of wandering. And, it's like, stop already. Just say your piece. The different opinions will be there, and you have to evaluate for yourself, what can you take away from this? You may simply be taking away that they're frustrated by the situation and wanting to give you feedback, versus it was really valid to your situation. On the other hand, that was their opinion. It's worthy of having some consideration. And I think that's how evaluations and receiving them are opportunities for us to practice that. Because hearing that negative feedback, like, no, I can't do it that way, it doesn't work for now, you don't know our situation, is so easy to people to just get into conflict. There's actually conflict resolution modules as well. So it's an opportunity for people to become better at giving feedback and receiving it themselves in Toastmasters.
Awesome. Great. Well, I think that's a good segment to close out on. Christy, I want to thank you a lot for your time today. Really great insight. wealth of knowledge. You've been doing this for a long time. I'm sure you're going to continue doing it for a long time. Really
exactly.
Yeah. I guess to close it out, how can people get in touch with you if they wanted to reach out to you? Or you already mentioned how to get in touch with Toastmasters. Anyone who wants to reach out to you directly.
Right. Well, one of the email addresses, let me put in here, is one that really reaches me for the club, the storytellers, but I can be reached for other ones as well. I help you with that. I'm going to put Toastmasters email in there, and then hopefully that came over. But again, look at Toastmasters.org. There are Toastmasters over the entire world. Toastmasters clubs meet morning, day, and night every day of the week. So if you find that, well, this one, like say my home club meets second and fourth Thursdays at noon Central Time, if that works for you, great. Step in and just have a try at it. If that is your busy time, so you say, no, that's not my day, then there are others that do fit on that. I challenge you to do something new in the new year, something to step out of your comfort zone. Take on a Toastmasters meeting to see how that could help you. An hour a week isn't too much to be able to grow your skills. And I think you will see a difference once you start practicing. Even though you give speeches in your world today, to have that practice environment is really valuable to grow our skills.
I think this will make your day, Christy. Laura said, thank you. She's one step closer to Toastmasters now.
Excellent. Yay. You can do jazz hands online. Yes.
You won't regret it, Laura. It's awesome. Get a lot and give a lot. So, cool.
Exactly. Well, thank you for inviting me, Darish. It's always a pleasure to work with you.
Pleasure. Look forward to seeing you again in the near future.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Bye. Thanks everyone for joining today.
Are you struggling with CMMC compliance? Feeling stuck and uncertain about your career path in cybersecurity? Imagine having a clear path, expert mentorship, and a supportive community to help you master CMMC and thrive in your career. If you're just looking for another certification, this may not be for you. But if you're committed to making an impact, keep watching. Welcome to CPN, a mission-driven community empowering cybersecurity professionals with the resources, real-world experience, and mentorship needed for success in the CMMC ecosystem. At CPN, we focus on quality training, meaningful mentorship, and a strong network that prepares you to support the defense industrial base with confidence. Join us today and start advancing in your career with the guidance you deserve. Gain insights from experts, build hands-on experience, and connect with a network that supports your growth. With CPN, you're never alone in your CMMC journey.